so that's good. That's good. That's good. All right, so let me grab this. I do have to go and actually. I don't know how to actually see anything when it comes to. I have to actually go to my channel to always bring up the actual. Yeah, I did just see that. Damn it, I was completely unprepared. I don't know why. Usually I'm prepared for these, but yeah, it was me. It was me. It's whatever. I'll get this taken care of. Take a couple seconds. Look at that. They got me on that one. That one's already got it. How'd you like that thumbnail I made, kid? I really like that. I was really fucking with that thumbnail on God of War, man. I felt that one. I felt like that one was a good thumbnail. Alright. There we go. I restructure how all my stuff is, so it's like hard for me to find stuff sometimes. Yeah, I'm about to be. Alright. Alright, so let me go ahead and update that. I'm going to go ahead and kill the stream and restream. The DC guy. JP. I respect that. So what's going on, you guys? Gaming Addict here. Thank you for tuning in to another Addict Spotlight, where we put the spotlight on a certain game. I know this game's old as fuck. You know, it's Bloodborne. When did this game come out? Like 2015? Oh, the same year that Halo came out? You could... It's whatever. But you know what I want to do? I want to go over. You know, first things first. Let's go ahead and go over the guests a little bit. I don't think I really have to explain. I shouldn't really have to introduce any of you, but I'm going to anyway. Assuming. So you know, we have probably one of my all-time favorite YouTubers, Dreamguy. I don't know why, but your keep dreaming thing, you know, latches on to me. Well, I think it's more of a saying than Kidsmoove's best ball thing. I really do. But you know, thanks for coming by, Dreamcast guy. Tell people who might not know who you are, which I doubt anyone would be that, but tell them who you are. And that is not a lie. This man does review quite a bit of games. Then you know, we got famous Kidsmoove. You know, I actually delayed this because, you know, the Bloodborne thing, and I really wanted Kidsmoove to be part of it. He was the #1 person because of all his struggle with the Bloodborne thing. So what's up, kid? No. So first thing I want to go over is, you know, Bloodborne, made by From Software. Great game. I just beat it actually not too long before Kid beat it. Kid actually, I think it was like, what, 2 or 3 weeks after I beat it, you started it? And what's funny, a lot of people don't know this, Dreamcast guys. I actually am the one that antagonized the whole Bloodborne like challenge. Like, that was all me. It started on my streams for the for Bloodborne. So you know, let's go ahead and get into this. First thing I want to do is, you know, overall, Jestic, Bloodborne is you know, kind of a Dark Souls vibe game. It was made by the Dark Souls company, you know, From Software. It was a little bit more of a different approach than they generally did. There was a couple things that they, you know, stayed away from. A couple things they really added on to. You know, especially when it comes to one of the biggest things, you know, we'll go into that, is how you regenerate your health on Bloodborne than, you know, your average Dark Souls game. They went away from the campfires and went with the lanterns. I don't necessarily think they went away from it. They didn't want it to completely copy it, so they had to change something. So what do you guys, when it comes to Bloodborne, when you guys played, what was generally your favorite thing about the Bloodborne franchise? Oh, the Bloodborne game. We'll start with, we'll start with Dreamcast guy. What was the number one thing that you enjoyed from the Bloodborne franchise game? Yeah, and I don't think that was really in the Bloodborne, in the Dark Souls franchise. You couldn't really do that. So what Kidsmoove, the Bloodborne Conqueror, the Blood King. What was your number one thing that you liked about Bloodborne? Oh God. it, it, and what's funny is people attacked Kid over that. And it's like literally when he started that, that was the first thing I said. I was like, "Look, man, you're not gonna have a whole lot of time." Because I honestly thought you'd be stuck on bosses a lot longer than you did. Like, you kind of went down on yourself that you took 2 streams to beat bosses, which you can actually Dreamcast guy, especially coming from someone who's never played a Dark Souls game. I expected 4 to 5 streams every boss, like to be 100% with you, because some of these bosses, it's not like I don't think Bloodborne has the easiest bosses when it comes to Dark Souls like games. But for someone that hasn't played any Dark Souls games, you did really well. And I definitely, yeah, and when it comes to the bosses, speaking of them, they had a lot of good game mechanic bosses. Like I said, I don't think they're necessarily the hardest of the whole Dark Souls franchise, because I do consider Bloodborne part of that franchise because it was made by From Software. So I think that is a fair analogy. So I want to go over briefly, some of these bosses. Dreamcast guy did say when before we went live that he doesn't remember all of them, but hopefully he saw a couple, because I'm going to go over the majority of the ones that Kid played. So the first one we're going to go to is, I'm going to put it on the screen, is the Cleric Beast. Now this was on the one of the first bosses that you fought in the game. He wasn't really too complicated. Kid struggled on a little bit more than I thought he was. But what highlighted, do you guys would consider this the first boss in Bloodborne, because most people did come across him? So how, especially with you, Kid, like, what was the biggest thing that you had to overcome to fight this dude?
one big arm.
Mhm.
But I never paid attention to that to the point where I can like, oh, I can use that to my advantage. That's why it took me. I think him alone was 3 streams for me, right? And I
Dang.
think it was like the final stream where I when you and Erica was in a party with me, where I was able to finally get it. I had a couple streams where I actually was close to doing it, but then I would get caught and he would choke slam me like quite a few times. So, and that would be it.
All right, so what about you, Dreamcast? Do you remember this boss too much?
Yeah. So I'm replaying through it right now. So I managed to beat this on my second playthrough. I beat him on my first try. Since the first time I went against this in my original playthrough, he took me probably 15 tries to take down. And then I eventually found out how much he's weak to fire. So on my new playthrough, what I did is I just farmed all those guys at the beginning, got a bunch of souls, and since the only thing you can really buy at the beginning is potions and Molotov cocktails, I bought a ton of those. And so for this new playthrough, I literally just stood on the other side of the bridge and just spammed to throw fireball, basically.
Really?
Until I burned it. Yeah, and I flawlessed him this time. Like literally killed him first try, super easy.
I mean, you took half his health, kid, when you threw like 9 or 10 of those. Like, he's very easy to kill with cocktails.
Yeah, I brought 15. I burned him down to his last like tiny sliver of health. I walked up, poked him once, and he fell over dead.
All right, so we went over him. I don't think he was necessarily that hard. I didn't even really use any kind of fire moves. I think the time I did beat him, I did chuck a couple at him, took a decent amount of his health. But for the most part, it's like I always said in the chat when Kid was playing him. If you go towards the dead arm that looks dead, that's not as big as his other one, he always misses you every time. I feel like the majority of these bosses, they will literally miss you every time you hit them if you dash diagonal to the left or right of them. Like almost all of them hit you. Miss you. So next one is Kidsmoove's favorite one, Father G. So I ain't gonna lie, this dude had me raged a little bit. It actually, Kid beat him easier his first attempt. Now I'm not talking about the one where he cheesed him. I'm talking about when he first fought him, but he died. He had more easier luck than this dude than I did, because this dude he made me his bitch for about a stream and a half. What do you think, Dreamcast guy? What do you remember this dude?
Yeah, so I beat him by accident, no joke. I got lost early on. I was just trying to find. I just gotten the weird hammer where you have the humongous hammer that you can break apart and it becomes a tiny sword. So I was lost in the graveyard trying to experiment with him, and I bumped into him. Hammer that you and I accidentally discovered his weakness where you can just basically dodge step behind him if you time it exactly right and do the backstab that takes off like 14% of his health. And I just kept doing that. As cheesy as it is, I basically just completely glitched him out. So I don't know if that counts as a win, but he's dead and I'm alive.
You beat him. That's all that matters. It doesn't matter. So what do you think, Kid? Because you cheesed him the first time and people gave you a lot of shit over it. But what happened in the end?
Well, when I first reached him, a lot of people said, even in the Weapon Wheel chat, BG said he's gonna clean my colon. Like Father G, he's gonna rape me. I don't have a shot at him. And when I went in there, and I thought I did pretty well the first fight, like the Pharaoh, and then till he turned into a second phase, and then went ham. I couldn't really do nothing about it. Fought him a couple times, and to no success. Second stream is when the quote unquote cheesing took place, where I don't know if you're aware of this, Dreamcast guy, but I lured him upstairs because there's stairs, which I didn't know you can actually go up there and fight him up there. I lured him up there, ran back downstairs, and kind of try to make him hit me from the stairwell, and he couldn't, but I can hit him with the long axe. And I just kept, and he broke out of it a couple of times and continued to come downstairs because he killed me once. But the second time I did it, I killed him, and because he tries to hit me through the stairwell. I'm on one side of the stairwell, he's on the other, and I beat him that way. That was the cheese way. I beat him, and then on my second playthrough, I just recently streamed the rematch. I beat him straight up, but he's first timer. I didn't think he was that bad. I didn't consider him one of the harder bosses. I feel like I probably could have beat him straight up the first time. But why make anything harder on myself if I don't have to?
You beat the harder bosses than this dude. I think it was just the way you beat him that rubbed people the wrong way. I actually didn't know this. I don't know if you guys know this, but when he was, because I got a little obsessed with this after I beat it. He actually has, when he was alive, he has a partner that he killed with, that he did hunts with. And if you go back to that graveyard towards the end of the game, his partner's there and he tries to kill you for killing him. But did any of you guys know that?
No, I didn't. No, I did a main playthrough and I beat the DLC, and I haven't done anything else.
Yeah, actually, another hunter helps you kill them, kill the dude that tries to help you kill him. But if you can leave and let her kill him, and you don't have to kill him. But he's one of the famous hunters, and the reason that he wants to kill you is because he got so frustrated that you killed him.
That German, the first hunter.
Yeah. I have to remember what his actual name was. I don't think it was German the First Hunter. We'll definitely go into that here in a minute. So here we go. Kidsmoove, I thought you were about to die when you killed this one. Yeah, I think this thing looks like the thing off of The Last Guardian. I'm sorry, like when it's standing, like obviously when it's not standing, it doesn't. But when it's like long ways, it kind of looks like the thing from The Lost Guardian. But you know. This chick didn't even give me a hard time. I think I beat her on my second attempt when I fought her. You know, obviously, I didn't know this actually has the weak spots down here at the bottom if you ever consider looking at that kid. But, you know, you know, this is the Dodge Wiki. It actually tells you how to fight him. That's really bad. But, you know, what did you remember of this Dreamcast guy? Because a lot of people apparently had a lot of trouble with this boss. A lot of trouble.
Which one? I'm not looking at the streams.
It's the one in the...
Amelia.
Yeah, Amelia. It's the one that turns into like a hairy... What would you think?
Oh, yeah. I always thought she was like a ghost or something when I fought her, just because she flows like water all over the place.
And apparently, like she can heal herself. Kid, I don't think had to deal with that. Did you deal with that, Kid? I think you killed her before she did it.
Yeah, that's the second time when I beat her. Yeah, I was able to do it before she did it. But the first time, I prepared for her to do that, so I had that numbing mist to throw at her to break her out of it. Like all my tries against Vicar Amelia were pretty good. I just needed to upgrade a few things to beat her, and that's what allowed me to beat her when I did. But it felt good. It felt good. She gave me confidence to go back to beat you know who.
Oh yeah, you had like a heart attack when you killed this dude. Here's the person. Okay, after that one, there won't really much to talk about him. He was pretty easy. The Shadows of Yharnam, I felt like was the hardest boss in this game. I didn't have, besides maybe the last boss, because I think he was a little frustrating. What do you think about this boss, Dreamcast guy? Because I felt like fighting, this is the only time in the whole game that you fight more than one boss at the same time, besides the witches. And one was a range, one was a mid-range, and one was close range. I thought that was very convenient and cool, you know, mechanic that you did fighting. And what do you think?
They kicked my butt so bad, and they sort of there's a boss sort of like this in Dark Souls 3, kind of different, kind of the same. What are they called? The guys in Dark Souls 3, basically you start out fighting like one knight, and as the fight goes on, if you don't kill them fast enough, more knights start standing up. They're like basically an army of zombie knights, and you could trick them into fighting each other. So when I fought the Shadow of Yharnam, I was trying to do that to see if I could trick them into hitting each other, and yeah, that didn't go so well.
Yeah,
so
they take no damage to each other. I always thought it was funny when the one once you get them halfway and they start doing that fireball, the mage starts throwing the fireballs that explode. It doesn't do any damage to the other ones. It was annoying me.
Yeah, and so that's the thing is throughout the whole thing, I kept trying to trick them into hurting each other because I just was not, for whatever reason, clearly I was still using the hammer at the time, and this was during a phase where I'd put a bunch of souls into trying to make it my super weapon. So I kept trying to do power attacks to see if I could just brutal them down, and during that they would just take me out. So that was one of those fights. It took me a long time. When I won, it was pretty much by luck.
Yeah, and what do you think, Kid? I know you had a huge issue with this one. You actually fought this for a lot. I think this is the longest boss you fought.
No, I don't think it was the longest boss I fought. But they were worth, I think, were they worth 2 streams? Or 3?
No, dude, it was a couple of streams. I don't think it was 1 or 2. I think it was like 3 or 4. Like, you fought these people for a minute. I don't think you realize that.
I did struggle with them. Yeah, I definitely, because the thing is, the first time I got to them by accident, I almost beat them.
Yeah, you did. And, you know, you actually, I remember one of those, you were you were about to quit. Like, he came in the party, he's like, dude, I'm done. I'm like, dude, you almost beat him on your first try. You can't be quitting none of that bullshit. But I think what made these people hard was it was the katana dude. It wasn't the fire dude. Like, if people in your stream were like, kill the fireball dude is the easiest to kill. Because when you start hitting him, he has no counters. He literally will take every damage you throw at him. So it makes the last boss easier because you don't have to let up on him. I don't know if you noticed that, kid, but when you got him to the last bar, you literally hit him until he died.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's what like in the Bloodborne and Dark Souls community, they always talk about like flinch ratios. Certain enemies will flinch more and stop moving if you hurt them enough. And that dude, seriously, you tap him and he's like, no, stop.
Yeah,
I just wanted to get to the point where I didn't want him to start freaking spawning in the snakes. I just wanted to, because I was like, that if that's gonna kill me, and I don't deserve to die at that point. So it was just rush him. Don't even let him like spawn it. I'd rather have him kill me with his own combat moves than him spawning in a snake that can attack me from across the map.
Yeah, and all I have to say, man, is these were hard. People can say what they want. Them three were a bitch. This next one, you know, I'll try to go through these as fast as possible. The one Reborn, I don't think there's really much to say about this one, kid. I think the only reason you died to this is because it was unfortunate circumstances. This boss isn't hard. This boss is actually really easy. What did you guys think?
He crushed me a couple times. I think it's one of those guys that I beat on the second try. The first time I was trying to be a little bit overly offensive. He's one of those guys who does like a big strike with his body, and then I blocked that, and then I could hit him. But once I figured out his cycle, he was easy.
Yeah, I struggled. Everybody said this was like the easiest boss in the game, but I struggled with him. I knew how I can beat him. I just didn't know how to execute it. Getting to him was the hardest. That's what made it worse. Is like it was a struggle to get to him. But yeah, he gave me a trouble. I think he was worth. Was he worth 2 streams?
You fought him at the beginning of one stream and beat him at the beginning of the other. So yeah. you only fought him like 5 or 6 times, but you almost beat him once because you were trying like to fight him long range a minute, and I'm like, nope. Then you just got murdered. I didn't even know you can get up to the mages. That completely blew my mind. Like I had no idea you can get up to them. I always fought them shooting fireballs at me because they're mad easy to dodge. But you know, going from that, ain't really much to talk about him. He was pretty easy. You know, you just stay to the right or left of him. He couldn't really do a whole lot to you. This one here, I think, killed me once. It was Miglesh, the host of the Nightmare. This person raged you a couple times, kid.
Yeah, because I didn't like his fight. I didn't like chasing him.
Yeah, that is annoying. What do you think about this Dreamcast guy? Did you like him, or was he a nuisance to you?
I actually don't remember this. I'm looking at his picture right now. I don't remember this fight at all. I'll be honest with you.
He was the one that kept running from you, and you had to fight him. Then you'd run again, and then
I remember his library. I don't remember his fight. I feel like maybe my friend helped me with that part or something. Like my buddy and I co-op part of this once we figured out the co-op. So there were a couple boss fights that he helped me with because I just could not get past.
Yeah, well, he's not hard. I would, you know, I did have for some reason. Damn, no wonder that happens. I didn't know this, but I didn't know if people know this, but certain of these bosses are considered great ones, and certain of these bosses are considered like, you know, a great one pretty much in the Bloodborne stream is like the strongest kind of person you could be. They're like gods, and I didn't know this, but the wet nurse is considered a great one. So that's interesting. So the wet nurse, that was the boss that you fought right after you fought him. Do you guys remember the wet nurse a whole lot? I think, kid, you remember the wet nurse. That's no doubt in my mind. There.
Oh yeah. She's one of the most recent bosses. But I didn't think she was strong. The thing is that she had the phase when she turns the screen purple. It took me a while to see what the hell that was about, and then the fact that it was harder to get behind her. Is like, yeah, because I feel like her blades go all over the place, but she turns around, so she plays it. She knows that you're trying to get behind her, so she anticipates it. and I just didn't know how to really. It took me a while to just try to get a step ahead of her.
Yeah, and her whole the way she looks, that confused me a lot. Like when I'm fighting her, because she has all those like hanging robes and stuff, and she hunches over during her attacks, I was overly cautious, and so I'd have a thing where I'd step a little bit forward, and she'd do those attacks, which actually have really short range. So as soon as these were, she's an easier boss once you get over it in your head. But when I started out, I was like, oh my god, I'm so screwed. So yeah, once I figured her out, she was super easy. But man, right at the start, I was like, I cannot do this.
And then, you know, we do have the last boss in the game. This chick, she didn't really have a whole lot. The wet nurse, all you had to really do was stay behind her, and she gave you no issues whatsoever. This boss here made me rage once or twice. I'm not going to lie. I hated the first hunter with a passion. So, you know, he frustrated me to no ends.
Hello?
You lost you? Oh, Addict, you hit mute.
Yeah, go ahead and talk about them real quick. I'll be right back.
Sure.
Cool.
Which boss does he consider the last boss? I'm trying to remember.
The first hunter, Yarman.
Yarman, yeah.
Your dad.
I didn't know he was the last boss. I'm remembering this a little bit.
No, there's a couple. I think there's a boss after him, which is the one if you eat the umbilical cords, which I haven't. I still have to find one more.
The moon presence is technically the last boss.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's why I was like, but yeah.
Yeah, the moon presence is the last boss. This is technically, I would say this is technically the last boss, but the moon presence is the optional last boss. Because you actually, technically, the wet nurse is the last boss, because you don't even have to fight the first hunter. You could submit to him and the game ends. So, I felt like this dude was annoying because he was mad fast. He was the fastest enemy in this game by far.
Yeah. Well, and he's small. Like, just when you're facing him, I feel like I got so used to the super giant, enormous bosses that we faced. So to have like a pretty normal human-sized guy kind of threw me off. And
he's just, especially...
Yeah, that's true. After coming up all these giants you're fighting. And And I thought he was going to transform and shit, but...
They're just, no, they don't... That's one thing I did notice about this game is they don't really have any transforming moves. Like in Dark Souls games, some of these that you get them, you know, that halfway mark, they completely transform into something completely different. Not this game. I don't think this game had one time like that.
Especially Dark Souls 3, I would say like 60% of the bosses in Dark Souls 3, Phase 1 and Phase 2 are almost different boss fights.
And do you guys think, you know, we'll go into that. I'm about to close this up because I was going to go into a little bit more. But we don't have Dreamcast Guy too long, so I don't want to take too much of his time. When it comes to this game, let's say that they made a second one. Do you guys, first off, you guys think they're going to make a second one?
I think they're making one now because of that weird teaser they did last year. I do think there's a lot of rumors that it's going to be a Bloodborne prequel. I do believe that.
That would be cool.
How would you do a prequel? Do you play as like one?
You would play Lawrence. You would play Lawrence.
Yeah. And I think it's going to be called like the Fathers of Yharnam, and I think we're going to be the people at the beginning of the hunt.
Yeah, you would play Lawrence. That would make perfect sense. Lawrence is the one that started the Healing Church. He's the one that pretty much. There's two people. Remember the dude in the wheelchair right before you fight Rom?
Yeah.
That dude and Lawrence was the people that started the whole lore. Lawrence, he left that dude and he started the Healing Church because Lawrence wanted to keep using the blood because it would heal you. That's the reason, the whole point behind it is the blood vials would heal you, and it got rid of the. They had a huge plague at the moment, and it got rid of that. Yeah, Father G did transform. I forgot about that. He's the only boss that does though. But you know, it healed their plague, and little do you know it actually infected them with another disease that was not curable, and that's why everyone started going mad. That was the whole point.
That's why they all weird and shit.
It's because of the blood. If they were to make a second one, what would you like them to improve from the first one?
I would like if they leaned just a tiny bit more into the psychedelics of it. Like playing back through Dark Souls 3 right now. Sorry, I keep mentioning it, but going through Dark Souls 3 right now, the environments are so different. You literally are like fighting a boss up in a clouded castle that's just literally like almost invisible, and then you're dealing with like skeleton monsters in the underground and chopping down bridges. I feel like they did the full scope of their game design. I would want Bloodborne 2 or whatever it's called to kind of really stretch its legs more. I feel like as amazing as Bloodborne is, I feel like it is pretty safe. Like in the first hour, you understand everything that game will ever be. It never really surprises you.
Yeah, and I would have to agree. Bloodborne needs to really expand, especially, you know, Frog said in the chat, they need to make sure the game runs better than the first one. Because like the game's been out for a while, and I was having a lot of frame hiccups even to this day. I don't know if you had that problem with the Pro. Did you have that problem with the Pro, Kid?
Oh, but frame rate. I know I experienced horrible frame rates during One Reborn when you go up to get the witches, or the mages, whatever. Like you go across the bridge and shit just stops. And it happened in my stream, and I called it out for a couple times. Like, why is it doing this at this point where it's just like the frame rates just go, they just like tank. It feels like the game is rubber banding. But
yeah. I had a lot of the areas that had more destructible environments. I even tested it when I was recording some video of it a couple of years ago. And when I literally just pressed record and started rolling around in boxes and just watched the frame rate like chuk, 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 chuk.
And I feel like that is definitely, and especially coming from the Dark Souls games, because I played Dark Souls 3 when it launched, and you know, for the most part, the Dark Souls games are pretty well optimized. I mean, they're not the greatest, but they don't really mess up to the extent. But you know, this game's been out for a while, and I had a lot of frame hiccups, like a lot. I remember sometimes when I was going around that, maybe it was the newborn area, because a lot of the times I had issues with the newborn area. And, you know, maybe it's because I'm not on the Pro, but I don't feel like that's an excuse, because I shouldn't have to buy a Pro for a game to function well, if that makes sense to you guys. But, you know, I would like, one of the things is I would like for them to maybe inquire some kind of, I feel like all their games, maybe some voice acting, I feel like, you know, would really help but then, you know, that atmosphere of their games doesn't really, are voice acting friendly, but I feel like it would help them.
I'd be curious. The biggest thing is I feel like Bloodborne, Dark Souls, all those are so good kind of because they don't talk. They're kind of those shut up and fight games. And I feel like if they leaned heavier into that, I don't know if it'd be the same. I kind of like how quiet they are.
And I do want more variety of combat styles, because there are combat styles in Bloodborne, but it's not branching out like, you know, you would get your initial Dark Souls game. And I know people were like, oh, this isn't Dark Souls. I'm comparing it to Dark Souls because it's made by the same developers. They can easily, you know, expand on like they did in Dark Souls. But this is the first one. But I can't really go off what Dark Souls 1 to 2 did, because Bloodborne's after all the Dark Souls. So, like, I think it came out before the third one, right? Yeah, so they already had games in. They were already like 3 games deep. So you can't really compare it to the first one because it's an established developers making Bloodborne. I don't know. I feel like, do you think did Sony fund Bloodborne?
Partially. I think it was one of those weird things where Sony funded the development, but then they got to keep all the profits type of thing. Like From Software kept the profits. It was like make one of your games exclusively for our hardware, and you get to keep the money.
Now, do you think if a Bloodborne 2 came out, would there be a chance it would come to multi-plat with PC, Xbox?
I don't think so. No, I think Sony is. I mean, Bloodborne made them a lot of money. I think if they can do that again and replicate that magic, I'm sure they will.
And what's sad is Code Vein.
Yeah.
We were at PAX, and you know, Microsoft they showed it. Frog says Sony owns the IP.
They own. I don't know if they own Bloodborne.
I have no clue.
I don't think they own Bloodborne.
They might. I don't know.
That's above my pay rate. But you know, that's my thoughts on it. Who cares? I have a PlayStation. I'll play Bloodborne 2. I have been told that the lead developer of From Software, he never makes sequels himself. The studio makes sequels and he moves on to another project. He says he can't stand making sequels. Pretty much the only reason they make sequels is because It's to keep the company going, but he doesn't like doing it. He hates it. He won't be making a sequel if Bloodborne 2 is in development. They might make a completely different game entirely. Who knows? So, you know, I definitely appreciate all you guys coming by. I definitely know one thing. That the reason Dark Souls came into Intuition is because they wanted to break ties with Sony from Demon Souls. Did you guys ever hear that?
Yeah, about how they basically demanded that it sell a certain amount, and then they underprinted. It was a whole giant mess, and it ended up selling really well. But initially, it didn't even sell 100 copies originally at launch, and Sony was super pissed at them. And they kept being like, "We promise it'll sell. Just keep printing them." And it turned out they were right.
Yeah, and you know, I will honestly say, you know, they made a genre. Like,
yeah, they did, yeah.
They're the only one of the very few developers that can actually say, I made a genre. Not like a game, I made a whole genre. But
I really have to run. I should have left 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I was literally, I appreciate it. I was about to close that now. I definitely appreciate you all for coming out. Thanks for staying 10 minutes later. Dreamcast guy, you can go ahead and take off now. Kidsmoove, do you have anything to say?
Peace.
A peace, Dreamcast guy. It was a pleasure. Good talking about Bloodborne. It's good to be a part of the conversation.
Yeah,
glad I can be a part of the conversation after being able to play and beat it.
All right, since he's gone, since he's gone, I do want to bring up a couple things for you real quick. Just one or two of the bosses you didn't fight. Actually, there's a couple of these bosses I didn't fight because I didn't go into them too much because you know, Dreamcast guy was busy because he's making one of his videos. This dude here and this dude here, people keep telling me because I haven't fought this one here, telling me that he's really hard. Apparently he's in that area where you fight the he's in the upper cathedral ward. So I just got there recently because I'm grinding to get there. What's going on? What's up, Jason?
Yeah.
I didn't fight this dude. People in the chat tell me if he's hard. Because, you know, I'm not going to even go too much into that because all you people sit there and tell me that these bosses are mad hard. And I fought them and they weren't that hard at all. But tell me how you guys feel about this boss. So he is a pain. I feel like both of us should stream this boss kid.
Yeah, we should. I watch Erica after I beat the game, her top all the best bosses from hardest to worst or easiest to hardest.
Yeah, and it's whatever. There is another boss. So, you know, that boss is whatever. This boss I didn't fight either. I might have fought this one. I don't think I did though. At the bottom of the shortcut in the Silver Beast. No, I didn't fight this one. People say this one's a pain in the ass too. I didn't fight it because obviously I kind of rushed through the main game. I fought a lot of the optional bosses, but there were a couple I missed. Who fought this boss? Obviously you didn't, kid. But we need to go back and fight some of these. See, in Bloodborne, the great ones, they're like powerful demons pretty much, like ascended gods. And the ones, a lot of these optional bosses are great ones. You know Rom? Kid? Rom?
Yeah.
He was a great one. So
yeah,
so these are like pretty much the strongest people you can possibly fight. And you know, Frog says this boss isn't super hard, so we'll have to take his word on that. Here's a boss you didn't fight, kid, that I fought. I think you could beat him. He is hard, but I do think you can beat him. He is in the Canehurst Castle. He's on top of that building. He's like a king. That he flies and shit, and I didn't really do the Chalice dungeons. I haven't really. Maybe me and Kid should do the Chalice dungeons co-op, because I haven't really done a whole lot of those either. What do you think about that, Kid? Doing the Chalice dungeons co-op?
Yeah, I'm open to trying it.
Oh, there's a shit ton of them, Kid. Hold on, I'm just bringing this whole page over here. Look at these bosses in the Chalice dungeon. I've fought in a couple of them, not all of them, but I have fought in a couple of them. Look how many is here. I fought right here. The Keeper of the Old Lords is the last one I fought. Apparently you get the platinum when you do this too. This is one of the ways of getting the platinum. Blood-starved beast. Oh, kid, there's another blood-starved beast in here.
Really? In a chalice?
$200 for either one of you to do all the chalice dungeons in a week. Are you serious? Jason, don't be throwing out challenges to me. Oh, shit.
In a week?
Yeah, in a week.
We can do that.
No, I don't know. Are you saying, like, can we co-op it and split it, or do you want us to do it individually? He said either one of you.
Either one.
So, I mean, if he's like, I'll do it by myself, but I think it would be cooler if he would let us co-op it and split it.
Dude, I started Dark Souls 3.
You have to get back to me on that, Jason. I'm missing 2 trophies. No, he said individual. So, would you be willing to fight these individual?
Yeah, I mean, I'm
$200 to just. You already got the foundation. I don't know. You're on New Game Plus. That might be a little hard for you. Because I'm pretty sure. No, I don't think these actually. I don't think these scale. Because when I'm fighting them on my New Game Plus, they're taking like 2 or 3 hits. So I don't think the challenge dungeons scale. But apparently, you know, they have harder versions of the actual bosses on here. What's up, Browse Move? They have harder. Look at that. People starting to flood in. I shouldn't have streamed when Rand was streaming, but I didn't have a choice because, you know, I already got Dreamcast Guy and I didn't want to, like, you know, go back on it because I did go back on the Sea of Thieves one. I never did the Sea of Thieves one I was supposed to do, but you know, it's whatever. Yeah. I'm gonna do that. I don't know what, Jason. I will take you up on that. When do you want to start that? Because I want to do that. Because I will do that. When do you want to start that? Okay, here is my schedule. I work Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. If you let me do it from next Wednesday to the following Wednesday, I will take you up on that.
How long is the challenge dungeon? Like,
I don't know. Like, I have no clue. But I'm willing to do this. I am willing to do this. People acting like, I don't know, Hardick was level 344. So, I don't know about that. Wednesday to Wednesday. Apparently ROM's in there too. A new version of ROM. Wednesday to Wednesday. I don't know if Kid would do it for half. Hardick duped. You can dupe?
You mean dupe?
I have no clue. What does duped mean? Did he like, is there like rare candies from Pokemon in this shit? Like, what are you talking about duped? How do you dupe your...
He probably duplicated his save files to get like unlimited like shit, probably.
Item glitch. So there is actual rare candies, like that kind of form in here to like level yourself up. Like, what's it called? I never got it. Did you get it, Kid?
No. Otherwise I would have. No, I know it exists though. There's like cheats to get like almost unlimited everything.
Alright, so, there's actual brain sucker. I hate fighting that fucker, dude. I hate fighting the regular enemies. There's a brain sucker boss in here.
Those are those aliens, right?
Yeah, the ones that would, like, grab you. YouTube item duplicated. Like, damn, dude. I didn't know you could dupe items like that. I don't know, Jay. You definitely hit me up. You can level up fast. Yeah, definitely hit me up on Twitter, Jason. We'll definitely talk about that. I got to see exactly what my schedule is. I just remembered God of War's coming out next week. I don't know if I'm willing to.
Damn, he's a boss. Damn.
What's a boss? What are you playing?
Oh, I'm fighting a boss in Dark Souls and I almost got him. Got him.
Man, you
is that a boss?
You over there? Here's the DLC bosses, Kid. There's 5 of them. They're supposedly like, Lugue's give me a lot of trouble because I'm a New Game Plus, but there's 5 of them. You ever gonna do a stream for the expansion, kid, all you got to do is beat 5 bosses.
Yeah, of course.
All you got to do is beat 5 bosses. How much would it cost to get people to play this shit? To get you to play the expansion?
The expansion? It depends. I mean, I it's not like... What the fuck? Wow. I'm gonna have to get all that shit back.
Would you die?
Yeah.
All right, but you know, I'm gonna go ahead and end this up. I definitely appreciate everyone for coming by. It was 418 to 425. Hold on, let me see that real quick. Man, that's when does God of War come out?
God of War comes out next Friday.
The 20th. That would give me... Let me see what Wednesday... Hold on. Let me bring up my schedule on the other screen, though. I'm not bringing up my work schedule on this screen. Fuck all that nonsense. People trying to see where I work. I wouldn't last a minute. I might do that. That's just like... If it was not near God of War, that'd be a different story. But I don't know if I really want to do that, like God of War. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me see what I work right now. Give me a second. I might just try to beat it. Oh, shit. They gave me the PTO. Hell yeah. Wednesday. All right, so... Yeah, okay. Okay, Jason. I will start that stream Wednesday at 6 p.m. because I'm off for 6 days after that. Okay, I'm going to do this. Fuck it. I'm going to try to beat it before God of War comes out, though. I'm going to no-light the fuck out of that shit. And Jason, I will be grinding like a motherfucker in that stream. Don't act like I'm... Nope. Because I ain't going to fuck around. Like, I'm not going to fuck around. I will grind and I will beat the shit like crazy. I will start that stream next Wednesday at 6 p.m. And I will do it for... And I will play that... I got a week from next Wednesday because I don't get our bets like kid. But I got a week from next Wednesday to beat the whole Chalice dungeon. And then, kid, you got to play it too, man. You got to do it too.
Yeah, cool.
All right, but I appreciate everyone for coming out. Yeah, definitely hit me up, Jason. We'll definitely talk about that. I appreciate everyone coming. I definitely apologize for the audio issues at the beginning. They missed like the first 2 minutes of the podcast because there's only hearing me and not you guys.
Oh, really? You had us on mute?
No, I didn't have you on mute on OBS because I set up a new scene. I didn't put the audio for the visuals to come in, so they didn't hear that. But, you know, it wasn't long. It wasn't too long. But, you know, I'm going to go ahead and... I'm going to get that done, Jason. I'm pretty good at these Bloodborne games, but I will definitely... I'll hit you up, Jason. And for that... See, I have a problem with that, Jason. I've already... so, hold up. Do you want me to restart? I can do that. I can restart the streams from the start. I do have a problem because, like, I already did some of the Chalice dungeons. So, like, do you want me to start over? Because I don't know if I'll have enough time. Especially if I have to start over, I don't know if I have enough time to do it then. Because I plan on beating that in 2 days. And I don't want to miss any... I don't know. I might have to cancel that because I don't want to miss God of War. I don't know. We'll have to see about that. Give me a couple hours to think about that, Jason, because I don't really have a problem with beating the game again, because the game, you know, I already know where to go, everything. It wouldn't take too long. It's just, you won't beat the challenge dungeon anyway. I won't beat it anyway with the defiled dungeon. I mean, if I don't, I don't. It's not a big deal to me. But, you know, I will definitely get back to you on that. Pending challenge. You got to give me a couple minutes to think about that. I might have to play God of War a day later because I will seriously... I'm off next Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. And Wednesday. I have all my days off in a row. There isn't an issue about me not beating it. Trust me, I could beat it. It's just, do I want to take a time away from God of War to do it? Don't you think that's a legit thing, kid? Like, not wanting to take away from God of War to play it? You have to beat the game to get that far anyway. What? Of course. Frog wants to know what Souls you're playing. 3, probably.
I was playing Dark Souls 3 just a moment ago.
Yeah, Dark Souls 3. Yeah, so I'll definitely hit you up, Jason. I'll definitely let you know before the stream was supposed to start. I would definitely do that. Definitely appreciate everyone coming in here. I'll have to think about that. It just depends if I want to take a little bit of time before I start God of War, because I will literally I'll no life it until I beat it. I know I will. Especially for $200 on the line. But we'll have to go into that. Definitely hit me up on Twitter though, Jason. Been a pleasure, everyone, to come by. It's been an addict spotlight on Bloodborne. I think I'm going to do an addict spotlight on Sinner, Sacrifice, or Redemption, kid. I might have.
I'm doing one tomorrow. So streaming that. Man, this is so much to do. And then Hellblade. I'm gonna do Hellblade tonight. Sinner tomorrow.
No, it's not that, Jason. Like, okay, how about you do the challenge dungeons 2 days before God of War comes out? Like, that's I want to play God of War. I have to think about that. That's a lot to ask from me to not play God of War and play another game. Would you not agree? Look at this shit, kid. These people have been hyping the fuck out of this game and want me to play something else but God of War. But nah, I'm fucking with you guys. I'll think about it, Jason. Hit me up on Twitter in the DM. We'll definitely talk. I will talk to everyone later. I appreciate everyone for coming by. I don't know when my next Addict spotlight will be. You'll be the first to know. This is Gaming Addict. I'm out of here. Kidsmoove. We'll see. Kidsmoove, have you decided what your next challenge is going to be? Are you going to take people on that God of War on the hardest difficulty?
Yeah, after I play the game normally.
So you want to play the game fully, and then you'll play on the hardest difficulty. How much was it?
I'm not ruining my $60 freaking purchase.
I agree.
I got the review copy or something, that'd be different. But like, no.
I agree. Jay, how much is it? Like 400 or 300?
The pot started at 150.
150.
So
I thought I saw like 5 people put 50 in there. I'll have to see how that goes. Who betted the 150?
Jason Elliott.
Jason, you be sitting there trolling people, man. You put this money up for your own entertainment so you could see people struggle. So Kidsmoove says when he beats the first game, he will play the first one. How much do you think that pot needs to go to before you do it on hard, or would you do it for 150?
It depends on with the time limit. I just need to know what the stipulations are.
He said 40 hours.
40 hours?
I'm pretty sure he said 40.
Okay.
40. The game's 25 hours. That's like doing everything. So I think you should be able to play it on the hardest difficulty in 40. Yeah, but we'll see. That's a conversation you and Jason need to have in private. Appreciate everyone for coming out. It's Gaming Addict. I'm out of here. Peace.